Hey everybody, how's it going? This is John Breeden. It is March 5th, 2021. It is Friday, and you know what that means. I got a lot to talk about here today. Obviously, the Las Vegas race weekend is upon us. We have Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup all on track this weekend. It is a triple header weekend in Sin City, and I'll get to that here in a moment. But first, I want to talk about, yes, Noah Gragson. Yes, Noah Gragson has been making a lot of noise this week on Twitter and overall just the fallout from Homestead after, again, he was leading with 3 laps to go, had the race pretty much secured. I mean, he was out front by 9 seconds. There was no chance of anybody catching him, and David Starr had a tire problem, and he went up the racetrack and collected Noah Gragson and wrecked him. Now, overall, the Twitter aspect of it, he's basically just going on and he's been trolling a lot of his fans. Or, well, I guess they're not his fans, they're his critics. But anyway, I mean, he's just going on Twitter and he's kind of having fun with people and things like that. But, I mean, he's also been on here talking about the David Starr incident and not exactly very understanding of David Starr, which, I mean, I don't really understand. Here's my whole thing on this, because I'm sure everybody knows the story of what's going on here. I don't have a problem, and actually, let me read this article first. So, myroadnews.com posted an article titled Noah Gragson and Team Embracing the Black Hat in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And it basically talks about, Noah Gragson says here, I love it. I love every second of it. And he said, basically, he talked about he wants to be true to himself and things of that nature. Which, to me, here's my take on the whole thing. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with Noah Gragson kind of playing the bad guy in the Xfinity Series and things of that nature, and you know, trolling fans on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with Noah Gragson is this. So David Starr here said on his podcast that Gragson wouldn't hear him out. And this is David Starr's quote. I said, "Man, I sure in the heck didn't want you to wreck. I didn't want to wreck," Starr said to Gragson. "It's not often us small teams like Carl Long's team, our budgets are very small, and when you have a chance to run top 15, it's almost like a win to us. To finish 12th or have an opportunity, if somebody ran out of gas to finish in the top 10, that would have been big for us teams, and that are not your big powerhouse teams. It's just racing, and it's just a shame that it turned out that way, but it does, it happens." And Starr also claimed that Gragson said teams like MBM, quote, didn't belong in the sport, something Gragson refuted during a media availability on Thursday. "Listen, man, I'm not the only one who thinks you're one of the hardest guys to pass," Gragson said of the post-race exchange with Starr. Here's the thing, okay? Like I said, I do not have a problem with Noah Gragson kind of playing the bad guy and trolling fans and things of that nature and getting mad about this stuff. What I do have a problem with is him completely disrespecting journeyman drivers like David Starr, who have been around longer than him. You know, it's somewhere in here said, like, David Starr had been racing before Noah Gragson was even born. And that's, I mean, and Mike Joy is also on here talking about, you know, I can't find the tweet, but he basically said, like, you know, these younger guys who are coming in with all this money, they need to show their respect. Now, again, if Noah Gragson wants to play the bad guy, that's fine, but he's out here, you know, disrespecting these drivers who have been around the sport for years and years and years and years. And for something that not even was an intentional incident. David Starr had a flat tire. Contrary to what Gregson believes, but he had a flat tire, and he went up the track, and he collected him and wrecked. It was an accident. Like, at some point, he's got to realize that this was an accident. It's okay. I mean, it's fine to be mad about it, obviously, and it's fine to be mad about it in the moment. But this was a completely unintentional accident. And maybe since then, maybe Noah has apologized, David Starr. I have no idea. And there's no reason for me to not believe David Starr about what Noah Gregson said to him. I mean, it's just, I don't know. To me, that just comes off very disrespectful. And respect in NASCAR, it's not given, it's earned. And I think this is going to end up to, these drivers on the track, they're not going to treat Noah Gregson with the respect that maybe he thinks he deserves because of comments like this. So, and I mean, to add to that, I mean, do you know how many incidents Noah Gregson has caused? I mean, he's ran over quite a few people in the Xfinity and Truck Series on the way up, and there's nothing wrong with that. Things happen in racing. But I mean, when something like this was a complete accident, a complete and total accident, a tire went down, there's nothing he could have done about it. I don't get it. And he also said something like, if they're talking about you, good or bad, they're still talking about you. Which, I mean, I agree and disagree with that. Because that basically means, like, any publicity is not bad publicity, right? Or whatever this saying is. Which, I mean, if we know anything about, today's world, I'm not going to get political, but if you think about politics and celebrities and things of that nature, there is a such thing as bad publicity. So, I don't necessarily agree with that, but, I mean, yeah, they are talking about Noah Gregson. Everybody's talking about Noah Gregson this week. So, I mean, again, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Noah Gregson being this personality and everything like that. I loved his post-race interview. I mean, I would have left the dipshit line out because, again, it was an accident. But, I mean, at that point, I don't know if Noah Gregson had seen the replay or anything like that. But it's obvious he stayed, he's sticking with his guns on this one. And he's, I don't know. I just think it's, at this point, he needs to get over it and understand that it was a complete and total accident, and not disrespect guys like David Starr, who, yes, I mean, David Starr, he's not had a lot of success in NASCAR, but, I mean, he's been around for a very long time, and he deserves more respect than what Noah Gregson gave him. So, but again, Noah Gregson, I think he's great for the sport. He's a good personality. He's a young guy. I mean, I think he's good for the sport, but this kind of disrespect is what I don't like. So that's my take on the Noah Gregson situation. I mean, he seems like a nice guy overall. Like, I mean, I've never actually met him, but I mean, everything I've seen of him, he's good to the fans and things like that. So, I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I just think he needs to tone it down a bit. And apparently, somewhere in this article, he talks about a conversation he had with Dale Jr., where basically Dale Jr. talked about he did need to tone it down, and basically he didn't want to listen to that. He wants to stay true to himself and things like that, but which is fine. I think you should be true to yourself, and you should be yourself, and not, if you get pushed, you should push back. But in a situation like this, I mean, you just need to let it go. It was an accident. So, that's my take, and there you go. So, of course, we do have the Las Vegas race weekend coming up, the Cup race coming up this weekend. Obviously, last week's winner at Homestead was, in fact, William Byron. Joey Logano won last year at Las Vegas to that first Las Vegas race to open the season. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. And, of course, Kurt Busch won the playoff race at Las Vegas last weekend. Now, last week I picked Kevin Harvick to win. And I kind of picked him as a baseline pick because we didn't have any races yet on mile and a half, so it was hard to choose somebody who I thought was going to win. So I kind of just chose Kevin Harvick because I felt like it was a safe pick. And he didn't have all that good of a run. I mean, he was back in, the top 15. He was in 18th at one point. He didn't have all that solid of a run, but he ended up coming back and finishing 4th. And I talked about on the show last week that this Kevin Harvick, he knows how to get the most out of his race car, and he knows how to be there at the end. Even with a bad car. With a bad car, he's able to rise to the occasion and still get a good finish out of it. And so I said, once Kevin Harvick gets his setup figured out, good luck beating him. So, with that said, I am going to go once again. I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick this weekend. And he's a multi-time winner at Las Vegas. And he's obviously an excellent mile and a half driver. And I just saw that comeback he had last weekend. And I was like, man, if he gets a good setup, you guys are in trouble. So I am once again going to go with Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick's going to win this weekend in Las Vegas and get his first win of 2021. It'll be interesting to see where everybody else shakes out. Where does Kyle Busch shake out? Kyle Busch did not have a good run last week in Las Vegas, even though he did come back to finish top 10, but we didn't really hear anything out of Kyle. What about Martin Truex Jr.? I expect Truex to be strong. He should definitely be up there in the top 5, top 10. Should lead some laps, but overall I think Harvick will get the win. Where does Chase Elliott shake out? Chase Elliott hasn't been the best at Las Vegas. So I'm interested to see where all the Hendrick cars shake out. And what about Bubba Wallace? To me, Bubba Wallace is still a big question mark. This is only going to be the 4th race with this 2311 racing team. And a 22nd last week at Homestead, not good. Not good, and showed no signs of strength in that race. So, I don't know. Who knows? What about Chris Buescher? He's coming off that good run at Homestead, at least that first half of that race. The second half, he got shuffled back, ended up finishing 20th. Where does he shake out? What about Ryan Newman, coming off a solid top 10? A lot of questions going into this weekend, and it's been a very interesting 3 weeks. William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Michael McDowell are your first 3 race winners. Who knows who's going to win this weekend, honestly? I think it's going to be Harvick, but, I thought that last week. And, what about Denny Hamlin? Where does Denny Hamlin shake out? All these guys, they don't have wins yet. And it'll be interesting. So there you go. I think Kevin Harvick wins this Sunday at Las Vegas. And I'm going to pull up NASCAR.com real quick before I go over the Xfinity preview. Obviously, Xfinity is this weekend, and Myatt Snider won last week at Homestead, his first career win. Back-to-back first-time winners. We had Ty Gibbs, of course, of the Daytona Road Course, and now Myatt Snider. And, of course, this page won't load here. But, of course, Noah Gragson coming off his big week in Homestead, and trying to get this this lineup to load. Okay, here we go. So basically, I'm loading this to see who is driving that 54 car this weekend. And it is, in fact, Ty Dillon. So I didn't know if Kyle Busch was racing this weekend or not, which is what I was interested in because, if Kyle Busch were racing this weekend, would you really pick anybody else? Quite honestly. There's always a possibility. We've seen Kyle Busch dominate Xfinity races, but then make a mistake like a pit road speeding penalty or something, cosmetic with the car, or a blown engine, things of that nature. But we've never really seen him give away wins in the trucks or Xfinity. But he is, in fact, running the truck race this weekend. Or, I guess, the truck race tonight. So I'll get to that in a moment. But Xfinity. Who am I going with? Well, the thing with Noah Gragson is I just think, I don't know. I think there's just been too much attention on him this week. I just don't know, can he put that behind him? Can he put that on the back burner and focus on the race this weekend? I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how he plays out. If he goes here and wins, I mean, first of all, he's going to make a lot of people mad if he wins. But he would definitely make a statement by coming off this crazy week and winning. But for me, I'm going to go with Austin Cindric. I think it's just a safe pick. Austin Cindric's got some momentum right now, obviously. Defended champion, won Daytona. I think Austin Cindric is a safe bet for Las Vegas. So I think Austin Cindric will win, albeit any mistakes, of course. We'll see where Ty Dillon shakes out. I mean, I'm just not sold on this Ty Dillon. I mean, obviously he had an issue last week. It was kind of unavoidable, a hole in the radiator. What are you going to do? But I mean, same with Daniel Hemrick. I mean, where does Daniel Hemrick shake out? Both these guys, they need to win soon, man. I mean, Daniel Hemrick is still yet to win in NASCAR. He's been, swapped around in numerous rides and the 3 different levels. I mean, that one moment he was in Cup and then he was back down in Xfinity racing part-time. He's got to get a win soon. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Where does Brett... I am interested in seeing how Brett Moffitt runs this weekend. He had a solid run going. A good top 5 run there at Homestead. Obviously had that tire go down, which kept him from that battle with Noah Gragson. I mean, he got right up to Gragson a couple of times, and then he had the flat tire and pretty much ended his race. So yeah, but I think Austin Cindric will win this weekend, and obviously all eyes will be on Noah Gragson to see how he does this weekend. So there you go. And trucks, obviously, they are back this week after 1 week off. Ben Rhodes, of course, going back-to-back at the Daytona International Speedway and the Daytona Road Course. So who do I think wins tonight? Well, I mean, is there any point in picking anybody else but Kyle Busch? I mean, he won here last year. He won the year before that, I believe, also. So, I mean, sorry, everybody, but I'm going with Kyle Busch. I mean, it's just, to me, there's really no other option. I mean, obviously, if he makes a mistake, if he gets a pit road penalty, if he gets caught up in a wreck, back in traffic, if pit strategy doesn't go his way, he could lose this race. But I just don't see it happening. Who do I think will finish second? I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek looked very strong there at the Daytona Road Course, and he is a well-experienced Truck Series driver, so I believe he will get a KBM 1-2 finish and wrap that up. Kyle Busch has, in fact, won the past 3 years at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Truck Series, 2018, 2019, 2020, and those are, in fact, actually his only 3 wins there in the trucks at Las Vegas, but there you go. So I think Kyle Busch is going to go to victory lane tonight, so get ready, everybody, if you're watching that truck race. And it would, in fact, be, if he gets it, it will be, in fact, Kyle Busch's 60th Truck Series win. So there you go. And with that, everybody, I am out of time. I will be back either Sunday night or Monday afternoon to review the Las Vegas race weekend. And that is it. Everybody have a great day.